Hello, my name is Finster Paul. My pronouns are he, him, and I identify as a gay male. You can also call me Finn, and I am the manager of Community Health and Wellness. I remember growing up in a loving family, and I remember growing up feeling like I was a normal kid until things started to change. I noticed that the guys were talking about different things that I didn't relate to, and it felt very odd being in an environment that I felt like I was putting on a facade, or I felt like I was acting around. And it felt very isolating. I felt very confused, and I felt like I had to change myself to feel accepted again. And those were one of the toughest parts of my life. Moving forward, my dad was in the Navy, so we moved around a lot. And so I remember having to uproot and reintroduce myself and kind of be exposed to a lot of different environments. I quickly noticed that a lot of times I felt like I was always in between. You know, I'm mixed race, and so I'm half Black, half Filipino, and a lot of times I never felt like I fully fit into either. And so it's always a struggle of trying to feel accepted. And when I got to the point of coming out, that was another point where I felt like I was faced with a lot of confusion, a lot of rejection, a lot of people not accepting who I believed I was. And it got to a point where I had to stop serving what others wanted me to be and just started to accept myself. And I had to learn how to love myself. So now today, I've been lucky enough to find chosen family. And chosen family, what it means to them is finding people who will support you through anything. And I've been lucky to find that, and that takes a lot of work. When I was finding myself, I noticed within the LGBTQIA+ community that there was a lot of unsupports, a lot of shame, and a lot of people hiding themselves. And I've been able to come to a point in life where I'm able to be a beacon and to be visible for those who may need to take a little bit more time to find that support, because that was freely given to me when my highest times of need. I remember feeling alone and not knowing what to do, and other people in my community saw me and sought out for me and was able to give me those supports. And I think it's my duty to give the same. So when I was looking for my next opportunity moving forward professionally, Kern Health Systems popped into my search. I'm actually from Pasadena. I moved from 6 months ago. And a lot of my education was actually in the San Bernardino area. And that's where my real notice of inequities within local communities really kind of came to notice. Kern specifically has some of the worst rates of obesity, constant diabetes, morbidity, asthma, and a lot of these cofactors make Kern a really vulnerable target. And a lot of my passion is bringing equity to those underserved communities and making sure that we pay attention to them. Kern is huge. Kern doesn't stop just at Bakersfield, and we need to kind of always push the envelope and making sure that we create accessible and equitable practices within our more satellite and rural communities, and make sure that they feel valued, because a lot of times, we kind of overlook them. And I think growing as a professional community within Kern Health Systems, I think our next step is to make sure that we treat Kern as an individual, we treat them as a whole. I can personally talk about, when I had a lot of doubt with myself, I lacked a lot of self-love. And, when you don't love yourself, you're kind of fighting against yourself. I wasn't sleeping, I wasn't eating well. I just was throwing my body to the wayside. I didn't care, I didn't reach out. And one of the other interesting things too is that when you start that destructive path, it doesn't affect you, it affects everyone around you. It affects your friends, it affects your family, it affects your professional jobs. And what I've learned is that I need to make sure that my cup is full before I can start filling other people's cups up. Because my passion is really to reach out and to help others. But I was running myself dry when I wasn't able to take care of myself. And learning how to self-love and to come to self-acceptance was a really strong pigeon point to me becoming a better person inwardly and expertly. I do want to give some advice for those people who are still working on coming out. We call those people in the closet. I think the first thing is to make sure that you feel safe. I was put in an environment where I felt like I was safe enough to come out, but some people don't have that experience. Some people may need to protect themselves before they can move forward. But seeking out resources, learning how to ask questions, a lot of people had to go through a phase of questioning and asking and learning how to navigate an environment. And I would always implore people to reach out. Sometimes it's hard to find anyone they can identify as someone in the community. So if you are struggling, you can always reach out to me. But there's always, the places like the center and other queer hotlines that allow people to have more remote opportunities to reach out. And don't rush it. Your coming out experience is your own personal experience, and no one is allowed to put yourself out there unless it's yourself. So I've always thought, what does Pride mean to me? Because, when we envision Pride, we think about the celebrations, the marches, the giant festivals. And, I think in a personal note, looking at my own experience, Pride is an action. Pride is learning how to love yourself and being proud about who you are, and kind of replacing that shame and guilt with that altogether acceptance that we were all craving for and we didn't realize. And I think Pride needs to be visible because not everyone comes to that point yet. And I always say we need to push and add visibility to that to allow people to come to that point of reference. Because, when we think about the queer community, substance abuse, addiction, suicide, they're all higher factors because of the lack of support that they feel like they have. And being able to make a more visible net allows people and allows to save lives, I believe. Let's remember that Pride is about visibility, acceptance, and self-love. Moving forward, I really want to challenge everyone to allow people to be themselves and to give space for those who need it. I want to wish everyone a happy Pride, and I'll see you guys around.